Hi, welcome to BackStories. My name is Connor Ridland, and today's guest is Charlie Bailey from Broad Reach Communications. Thanks for being with us today, Charlie.
Glad to be here, Connor.
So, tell us a little bit about your company and what you guys do.
So, Broadreach Communications was founded in 2004. I had been working since 1983, doing all kinds of different things in video and film production, and I got an opportunity to provide equipment and crews to a couple of local shows. So I ended up buying gear and creating a company so I could service these clients better.
So, how exactly did you get started in the industry?
I got a degree in something called telecommunications back in the day, but within that it was fairly broad. But within that, I studied particularly television and film production. I got a degree from Michigan State University. Then I came back and I knocked on doors. I started working. I got an in at a studio outside of Philadelphia. I went in and talked to them, and they're like, "Yeah, we'll bring you on, one day at a time, and we'll see how you do." But I got in there pretty well. I became a permalancer.
So, what helped you make the jump from shooting TV to working in films?
Well, you know what? I don't think I've ever made the jump. When I was starting out, I mean, this was the studio where I kind of started was a video studio, but film companies would come in and rent their stages and shoot in there, and so it was a mixed bag. And to me, the process was always the same. I mean, the recording medium was different, but it wasn't that big a deal. And lots of times, as I kind of got better and understood things more, I was put in the position of, listen, you're the studio supervisor when the film crews come in. So, I would come in, I would do film crew, work as the studio supervisor, which was basically a really hardworking grip at that point. And the film crews got to know me there. Then I was able to branch out as a grip and whatnot on film crews away from the studio.
So, since you would consider shooting TV and film kind of pretty similar in your experience, were there any obstacles, would you say?
You know, there's always obstacles. It's the biggest obstacle is getting to work. And there is a difference when you say shooting film and TV. I mean, because there's a different structure between live television and film, right? And so again, a lot of the stuff I shot and still shoot is single camera production, which is film style. You have one camera, right? Or you might have an A and B camera, but basically the one primary camera shoots everything, and you plan your day around that and how you're going to get your shots. If you're doing TV, technically live events, there's multiple cameras, and then it's a matter of knowing what everybody's doing and who, and if you're directing, what your assignments are for the it's a slightly different can of worms.
So that pretty much answers my next question, which was basically what are some of the similarities between short films and live TV, which I was pretty much covered. So they are pretty much the same.
Initially, kind of needs to be the same, right? So if you're doing a film, and you're working and you have a storyboard or whatever, hopefully, and it's like what your shot list is and what's going on, right? And, okay, we're doing this. We got to get this, and here's my coverage, and here's a cutaway I know I'm going to get, and we better get this other cutaway. A live event, you don't have that option, and you have to like kind of watch what's happening on all cameras, plus think ahead, right? Okay, I got a bust shot of this guy, but I know I need to get a cover shot with the two guys, and I need that from over here to get the right angle, and he better hit his mark, or I'm going to be pissed. And then and you cut. But and again, a live event, it's not usually as structured as that. But like if you were recording a play, it's like, okay, how are we going to do this? How do we get from this shot to do this live? We have it's a whole thing where it's like, oh my God, I got to plan all this out. You better have watched rehearsals, and you hope that the actors hit their marks because you got shots set up. So that's the difference in a way between live and multi-camera and single camera.
Which one did you prefer?
I love them all. I like them all. I do a lot of both. I mean, the live event stuff is cool. It's really immediate. If you're directing, you have a lot of latitude. If you're a camera guy, you have assignments, right? You're supposed to get what you're supposed to get. Often you can freelance within your assignment. Like, that's a cool shot. I know he's not coming back to me now, or I'm going to try and get him to take this shot, right? Because it's going to tell the story. It's sort of a routine. I know what this and that, and this is, you can anticipate it changes every time, but it's still a routine. Sometimes you get a little bit more creative with, if you're shooting a film, right? You have a little more, depending on your position within the crew, what you can do. I like them both, though. It's fun. It's all fun.
So would you say shooting films gives you a chance to be more creative?
You know what is creativity, right? So if you're shooting a live event, and you're just one of the camera guys, let's say, it's like, but you see a shot that's going to add, and you can frame it even better. That's creative. Film, you think of it being more narrative. So there's creativity within that narrative, and you might have a little more latitude to experiment. But then again, you may not have any budget at all. In which case, one, you got to be really creative, but you're trapped in a room. And I got two guys, and I'm like, oh great, now what are we going to do to make this exciting?
So what would you tell aspiring film and TV production students just starting out?
You know what? Have fun. I would encourage any student that wants to get into this you better love it, because it's really hard, and find that part that kind of makes you excited. And be realistic. Chances are most students are not going to become the director right away. They're not going to write the script. They're not going to be the top editor. You got to you got to pay some dues. And the good thing about paying dues is actually, if you're smart, you'll learn a lot. Like I said, I was a grip for several years, but at that time I started doing stuff, and I would go into the studio and I would fool around with the cameras and do stuff so that the higher ups would see me doing that. So when the opportunity came, oh well, this is a simple job. Give it to the kid. So try everything, find out what you like. But if you want to stay in this business, you have to love it.
That's great advice. So if I have my foot in the door and I'm just starting out in the industry, what advice would you have?
Well, that's a great follow-up, Connor. Because hopefully anybody watching this is going to get their foot in the door. And the thing is now you're in. And like I said in my answer, you gotta take the jobs that I don't really grip. I don't want to do that. Or production assistant. But those are the jobs again where you learn. But the thing is, now you're a production assistant, or you're a grip, or you're a wardrobe assistant, or you're anything. Yeah, you have to pay attention on the set, and you have to be eager. Don't be so eager that you're annoying. Realize your place within that hierarchy. Let people know and do the work. Don't hang back, and then try and anticipate what's going to be needed next. I'm going to give you guys a couple different anecdotes that I use and are my favorites. Again, when I was starting out, I was working at this studio outside of Philadelphia, and there was the studio super was the lighting director. He was our primary lighting director. And I was doing his stuff and blah blah blah. And I had worked there, a few weeks, still doing. And he turned to me one time and he goes, "Charlie, your job is to know where my cigarettes are at all times." And you know what? I could be working with this guy today. His name was Sonny Jordan. And if he still smokes, I would know where his cigarettes are. That was my job. That was part of my assignment. He smoked he smoked Parliaments and Salems. And but it was like, okay, you have to know. That was part of the deal. So he would sit them down someplace, and I would kind of track it. You had to know that. If you're a PA, you be at the ready. Is the craft services table stocked? If that's part of your job, what are you doing? How can you help the producer keep moving along? Do you need to bring paper? What time? How do you help the AD? What are you doing? You gotta always anticipate. Is a grip? All right, bring me a light. Okay, go get the light. And it's like, well, I need to bring the stand too. Oh, and I needed to bring the barn doors. And if I'm smart, I need to think like, what diffusion do I think the gaffer's going to want? Right? So you're ready. You're always kind of anticipating what's coming next. Right? So that's that. Let's see. The other couple quick anecdotes. Again, when I was starting out, I was a PA on a car shoot, and we're out early in the morning. I mean, really early in the morning, 4:30 in the morning or something ridiculous to get this, get the sunrise, get the car coming down the hill and up the hill, and it's going to be great, when the sun comes up, blah, blah, blah. And the grip cup truck comes in and pulls off to the side of the road, so we're all set. Now, it had rained the night before, so now the grip trunk is sinking in the mud, and so now it's like, oh, we got to stop because otherwise we're never going to get the grip truck out, right? Big loaded with a lot of gear. So everybody struggles, and the gaffer gets in, drives the truck, and gets it out in the road. But he's tracked mud all over the road, right? And now they go, the sun is getting really close to coming up. And they're like, we got to clean the road because this is the shot. This is the place. But now we got mud all over the road. We can't do it. And it was like my job then was to clean the road. And there was nothing around except the big 5-gallon urn of coffee for the crew. And I had to take the coffee and dump it on the road, get sound blankets, and mop up the mud. But, you take the coffee away from the crew when they're standing around at 5 or in the morning. Nobody's really happy with you, but that was my job. But I got it done, and then we had to dry, and then we take another sound blanket, and I'm out there drying the road. Now the sun has come up. We kind of missed our best shot, but we got it. But that was part of the thing. It was like, this is what you have to do. And even if people were really pissed at me for using the coffee, I did, that was the right thing to do. And I don't think it was my idea. I think somebody told me, but didn't tell the rest of the crew. And the last thing, and this is something I've shared with some other people as an anecdote, is I remember being on a job, and we're doing something. I don't remember the job anymore, but we did something, and the DP, who was also acting as a camera operator, or the director, actually turned to the client and said, "So, what do you think of this?" And the client was like, "Yeah, it's okay." And he was like, "No, that's not a good answer. You either have to love the shot we've created for you, or you can hate it. You either love it or you hate it. And if it's just okay, we haven't done it." And the guy goes, "No, it's okay." But he was adamant. He's like, "No. We got to fix it." And so then we spent another probably 40 minutes adjusting some stuff, moving some things, adjusting, tweaking, maybe reframing the camera a little bit to do something. I forget the details. Now, I don't know if the client just said like, "Yes, I love it," but it was that the message stuck with me. So when you're working and you're getting your shot, you're your own client, and you better love that shot or you hate it.
Thank you for joining us today. You gave a lot of really valuable information that could be really useful for any young student just getting in this field.
It's been fun, Connor. Thanks.